I'm a native Floridian. I was born and raised in the area, and I tell the story that I went to Lake Worth High and Lake Worth Junior High. I was on the work program at 16. I would get out of school. I would walk through the blighted area, which is now our artist work live space area, our West Village, to my first job washing dishes at Junior's Restaurant, which is now Siego's on the corner of Bay and Lucerne. I would leave there after washing all the breakfast dishes and go and bag at Publix. That was how I grew up in the city of Lake Worth. So I moved on. I now have a store. I have a gift store on the corner of Lake and L with a juice bar, an organic juice bar, and I've been there for 23 years. This is my 5th business that I've had in the city of Lake Worth. And at one point, I went to school to become a travel agency. I opened a travel agency, and I traveled all over the world, but I came back to Lake Worth. This was my home, and it's still my home. You heard me say next week, Monday, I turn 52 years old. I'm happy to say we are no longer walking through the blighted area on the west side. And my vision was always you would get off at the Tri-Rail, you would walk through the Art Village, you would cross over into the downtown entertainment district, then you would cross over Federal Highway, which will become our hotel district with more restaurants and shops. And then you would continue on to the beach, this beautiful beach location. So our downtown, our walking downtown would be from the Tri-Rail to the beach, with everything you can imagine. And you heard the mayor say that we have everything. We do have everything. So years ago, I got involved as a volunteer, just like the volunteers that stood up today, and I volunteered for the CRA board, our Community Redevelopment Board. I was the co-chair when we applied for a stimulus package from the Obama administration, thinking we'd get a little bit of money. We got a $23 million grant. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, CRA, for seeing that vision. Thank you, William Waters, for actually working with us and making sure that happens. And you heard the mayor say it takes a village. It takes strong employees. It takes partnerships. It takes a community. It takes residents that see the vision. That's what we're doing. We are now taking it to the next step. I see a lot of friendly faces in the room, and I see faces I don't know. Thank you for being here. The friendly faces, thank you for being involved. The realtors, the people that see the vision, the people that have recently invested in our community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And when I left the CRA, I continued to stay as their liaison. And now I'm the CRA's liaison, and I'm also the liaison to the arts and entertainment. And you see that we have great events going on now, because our idea is Street Painting Festival. Street Painting Festival we created 23 years ago. There were 5 of us sitting in somebody's living room and created the Street Painting Festival. We now have Evening on the Avenues, which is our Friday night event, every Friday. So you don't have to think about it, every Friday. Tomorrow we have our Veterans Day Parade. When we first got elected, the Veterans Day Parade had been canceled, and we brought that back. We have a huge holiday event with a parade. So we're doing everything we need to do as a city to create and bring people here. Now we need you as partners to invest, to talk, to share exactly what Lake Worth is doing. At this time, I want to introduce our chair of the Lake Worth CRA, my favorite attorney, Terry Sable.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. So I'm here to speak on behalf of the CRA. My name is Terry Sable. I'm the chair. I have been for approximately 6 years, I believe. There's a reason that Pam is the mayor, because you see how dynamic she is. I'm a lawyer, I'm a technician, so it's not going to be quite as exciting of a speech, but I'm here to tell you about the nuts and bolts of what we do to make this city great in conjunction with the city council itself. You know, I also want to follow up on one thing that she said. I'm actually I grew up in Wellington, and she's absolutely right. You know, I'm a graduate of Wellington High School. I lived my entire childhood out west. And as soon as I was old enough to make that decision after college, I decided this isn't the life for me. I always felt like the commute east-west was a cruel trick, because you drive east in gridlock, and you're always late, and the traffic is horrendous now, and the sun is just blazing in your eyes. And no matter how great your sunglasses are, you can't see the car in front of you because of the glare. And then at 5 or 5:30, you turn around and drive back west, and the sun's blazing in your eyes again. How is this possible? It's a fact for anybody who commutes back and forth. So Pam's absolutely right. There's nothing better than living here east of town. I made that choice. I would never go back. I rarely go past Congress Avenue westward. However, my parents still live out there, so I have to visit them once in a while. But you know, she raises a great point. Families really want to come into town. It's a community feel, and you know, the Western communities are just so much sprawl that it's hard to really get that feel that you have here. So many people, I'm going to give some of the basics. You know, the CRA is the Community Redevelopment Agency. So by definition, our job is to help redevelop the city. Many people aren't aware that we don't cover the entire city. We do have a limited district, and we do as much as possible to, you know, to just cover that area and get everything done. But the difference between the mayor's job is she has to worry about every single inch of this town. We're able to laser focus in on the worst parts because our district happens to cover, by law, by statute, the worst blighted parts of the city. So we're not here at the beach spending money on the most beautiful part of our town. We're looking at the worst parts of town, and our job is to fix that. And I'm happy to say in the 6, 7 years I've been on the board, we've done an amazing job. And those of you who follow us, I'm sure you'll agree. So some of our past projects, one of the biggest that Andy Amoroso mentioned was the $23+ million NSB housing grant. We took that money. We were actually one of the showcases of the country. We're not the only town to receive that money. But HUD had come to us many times. They did a video on our program. They used that as a training video. We have gotten accolades after accolades on how we manage that project. We took over 165 houses that were abandoned and foreclosed and dilapidating and just destroying the neighborhoods, purchased them, rehabilitated, many times completely demolished and built brand new homes, and then resold them to the homeowners. So we took over 165 houses that were basically ruining the city, as the mayor said, the crumbling foundation, and turned them into people, many of them families, not all, but are helping to rebuild the foundation of this city. And 165 doesn't sound like a huge number, but for a fairly small city like Lake Worth, it's made an enormous impact. We also provided a grant to the Publix, which we all know and love. Downtown Urban Publix has helped really build the urban core of the city. And Joan, our executive director, spent a lot of time and energy to make that happen. We're also very multi-dimensional. We try to look at the, you know, that it's not just economic development, but there's other aspects to a city, to a community. And one of those we're a strong believer in is the arts. And we have our Lula program, which many of you may be familiar with, and we put a lot of energy into that. Emily, and by the way, our table's over here in the corner, so afterwards, if anybody has any questions, our staff is over there. They're happy to answer and work with you. But Emily's in charge of our Lula program, and she's also done a wonderful job. I can't say enough about how great our staff is. I'm just a volunteer. I have a real job. Because I have to pay bills, of course. So I can only spend so much time, but our staff is just top-notch. It doesn't get any better than that. So we have done a number of things with the arts as well. We've brought the Palm Beach County Cultural Council to the old Montgomery building. And they have brought so much attention to our city from an artistic perspective. And you know, art isn't just painting, it's music, it's culture, it's glass blowing, it's food, cooking. You know, the definition of art in our mind, we've been very clear to say there's not one narrow definition of art. It's not just painting, it's everything that's creative. And the Cultural Council understands that as much as anybody. They have tons of events over there. They're usually free to the public. I encourage anybody to stop in. The building itself is a work of art, and they've been a great addition to our city, and they're a close partner of ours, and again, I can't say enough about Rena and her staff over there. We've also built a number of artist work loft spaces, which are basically townhomes for artists only, and that's created the Arts Village that Mr. Amoroso says used to be the blighted area between here and the Tri-Rail station. We've built 4 buildings for that, and we have more coming online, so we're continuing to sort of merge the arts and the economic development and make the two one and the same. And we're very proud of how all those have come out. We have also put a lot of money and energy into nuts and bolts infrastructure. The CRA, prior to me being on the board, so I don't want to take too much credit for it, but I was responsible for paying off the debt once I did come on the board. But we rebuilt the Gateway project, which is 6th Avenue South and 10th Avenue North. My office isn't currently right downtown, but it was for many years, right in the center of downtown. And when I used to have clients ask how to get to the city, I would have to send them down Forest Hill, all the way to Olive, up and back, because I was embarrassed to have people get off at 10th Avenue or 6th Avenue South. Once they were completed, they're beautiful. They've got medians, they've got trees, they're repaved, they're sidewalks, completely different experience. So I personally was very happy to see that when that finally came through, and I'm really happy to see the bond, because I'm sure the rest of the city is going to grow as well. Into the future, we also have a number of programs that that we're looking to really help clean up and straighten out the city. One of them is we're doing a city wayfinding and signage project that we're trying to work with the city, because again, we only represent one small part of the district, or our district is a part of the city, so that we can have one consistent and very creative, by the way, again, sticking the arts in there, because we just went through some of our sign options to identify who Lake Worth is and how you get from one place to another, because that's pretty important. We have so many assets. We have a beach, we have a waterfront golf course, we have a downtown, and on, and people don't always know the city as well as many of us do, so we're trying to make it as user-friendly as possible. And signage doesn't sound that exciting or interesting, and it really isn't, but when we do it, it is. So I would encourage you to go onto our website and check out some of the designs that we have proposed. Because they're not just blue with the white background or green with the white background. They're really nice. I'm very proud of that. We're working on a citywide free Wi-Fi program through the light poles. I guess you would call them the light poles. So, and that's something that we've been talking about for years, and it's come slowly. It's difficult, it's complex, it's expensive, and we have many people in our city that are economically challenged. And the digital divide is a word that comes up a lot. And we're looking to provide the Wi-Fi access to everybody citywide throughout. So again, we look to our district and hope to spread that throughout. We currently have a number of grant and loan programs for both commercial and residential owners that if anybody's looking for or interested in. The purpose of them is to help people who already own properties, clean them up, fix them up. Businesses who are already here, help them kind of get over that hump, or bring new businesses to town. Publix is a great example because we incentivize them to come to Lake Worth. Many people say they would have came anyways. Maybe they would have, maybe they wouldn't. I didn't want to take that risk, so we were willing to put our money where our mouth was and bring businesses to town. And Publix is not the only example. We are a huge fan and proponent of small private businesses, and most of our board members, in fact, have their own or are business people themselves, and they know the perspective of how difficult it can be to run a business anytime, anywhere. We're working on a downtown master plan that's both takes into account the economic development and the cultural aspect of it, because we do recognize that the core of town is where people meet and people really get to know the city, and the culture is very important. We also own a building, free and clear, that is just just behind City Hall. It's a 20,000 square foot historic building. It's called 1000 Lake Avenue, which is the address. And I'm sure many people are aware of it, but we're working on rehabilitating and putting that to use. That building has been empty, vacant for many years. We've paid the debt off, and we're ready now to take the next step with that. And that's a big cornerstone of our community. It's right on Lake Avenue, just west of Dixie, and that's going to be a big impact on the city as well. And then, let's see, we also have recently taken over the shuffleboard courts, as many people know it, which is also another art and culture center. Currently, the Armory Art Center is there, and they're doing all kinds of exhibits and classes, etc. And you know, we took a building that rarely was used for anything other than loitering, and have turned it into something that's very creative. It's you know, whether you like the paintings or not, it's better than gray or tan, in my opinion. But everybody has their own opinion on you know, what's good art and bad art. But the best part about art is there's no real definition, so we all are entitled to our opinion on that. Currently, you know, we really put a lot into housing over the past few years with the NSP grant, and that's always one of our big focuses because a community doesn't exist without residents, and especially homeowners, because homeowners have, you know, they're invested in their community. But currently we're looking at a lot more commercial and retail attraction. We're doing a lot of work on Dixie Highway. We have one of our partners here that are helping us with that, that'll speak later. So we have many different, again, grants, loans, and really just our staff is here to help anyone who needs assistance navigating the process of starting up shop or growing their business. And, you know, just the welcome mat goes a long way sometimes, even if we don't always have money to offer to everybody. So I can promise you, anyone who needs assistance, if you stop and see our staff, I can promise you, you will not be disappointed by their assistance. We are currently in the process of transforming 5th Avenue South from what you would call a street that doesn't exist, basically a dirt road. It's 2016. We're not only east of 95, I mean, we're east of Dixie Highway, and the street is not paved. Sounds crazy, but it's a fact. So we're turning that through a grant, and again, much of our money comes from grant money. We're turning that into a greenway project that actually connects to the school to help the kids travel to and from school. But it's a greenway with walking and biking amenities, benches, landscaping. We're focusing on a lot of the native landscaping, low water, low maintenance. So we're trying to also green up the city in some of the places that are literally just dirt. So currently, one of our, I think, greatest accomplishments is we all know about the financial housing crisis that occurred. Well, since then, our property values in the CRA district, the citywide has done very well too, but I'm here to tell you how great we are. 76% increase in property values in the CRA district from I don't know if anybody can say that anywhere in the world, but I could be wrong, but that's pretty impressive. In fact, when I heard the number, I was actually kind of shocked. I questioned it. They assured me it's true. You know, the word potential, I listened, you know, I've been around Lake Worth quite a while. The word potential is, as Andy said, really a bad word around here, or it has been for many years. But I think that right now is the time that we, you know, are able to, and we are taking ownership of that. Because I see potential as a good thing. I always tell everybody, I never want to peak in life, because as soon as I do, I'm going downhill, right? There's nowhere to go when you're at the top. So let's never reach our potential. Let's tell everybody that Lake Worth is now and always will be a city with potential, and that's why when somebody asks you, why should I come to Lake Worth? Why should I invest in Lake Worth? I've heard all these bad things over all these years, Well, number one, Mother Nature makes it easy. I mean, if anyone looked at the water out there, it's amazing. It doesn't get any better than that. Even the Bahamas isn't always that blue. We have a waterfront golf course. We have a beautiful downtown. We have a cultural city. We have a diverse city. Lake Worth is a city with personality, if nothing else. And I don't think anybody will disagree, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, or who what you feel is right for the city. This is a city with personality and diverse interests and diverse goals, but everybody's goal is always the same, to make this place the best that it can be. And right now, we are definitely on our upswing. I've watched over many years this city move forward and backwards once in a while. But just the turnout here, just the venue that we're in, proves that Lake Worth absolutely is the right place to be. This is the right time, and it's the right place to invest your money, your resources, and your personal time. I love coming to Lake Worth. I love being here, and I think most people who are here now would agree. And we should all be cheerleaders for this city, because it just helps the city grow and improve. And I just want to thank you all for taking your time to be here, because I know that you being here probably agree with many of the things that we're saying. You see the potential, and you want to be part of that potential, as opposed to holding the city back. And we're moving forward, and there's no stopping Lake Worth. So thank you all for coming, and appreciate it.